Very in the dark in here. I'm going to tell you a very, 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 very interesting story that involves me. But first I should go ahead and give you all a heads up. This story is graphic in detail. It's fucked up. It's something that's happened to me when I was young in life. And if you want to spare the details, all you have to do is listen to the song Farmington Woods, and then you're good. But this is the details behind the song. Here's the story behind the song Farmington Woods. Now, you've had your warning. Viewer discretion advised. This song, this real life story that I'm going to tell you about my life, it has a lot of painful memories involved in it. And I would say one of the biggest things you have to understand about me is I'm not the type of person that wants to exploit myself in front of people or just to be used. I'm trying to make something understandable about me and to shed light and to, have my quote-unquote be brave moment, as everyone else will say. Oh, that's so brave of you to say that. Oh, it's so brave of you to come out and say that story. I don't give a fuck about that, but fuck. What the fuck? Seriously. So, in case you're wondering what this story is involving, it involves me in an incident that happened a long time ago. And, if I were to go into more details, the only thing I can tell you is it involves death, it involves rape, it involves child abuse, it involves pedophilia, it involves a story in regards to a near-death experience, and yeah. So, now that you know all the details of what's going to be mentioned in the story of mine, of what I've been through in life, I'm not here to try to shock people. I'm just here to show people what it is that I've been through, basically. Now that we got that out of the way, 3 minutes and 47, 48, 49, 50 seconds. Alright. Long ago, might have been in the late 80s, I would say 88 or 89. I'm not sure what year exactly. But I remember the year, school year I was in. I was in 3rd grade. That much I remember. I remember the school I went to. It was called Farmington Woods. When I went to school in elementary, I was in learning disabled classes, and I stayed in them until fucking high school, until they didn't have any learning disabled classes for high school. And then after that, I just dropped out because I couldn't keep up with all the other kids, because the schools themselves and their systems were fucking crumbling and full of shit and just bullshit in general. They weren't there to help anyone out. And I'm no different in that regard. So when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I went to this elementary school called Farmington Woods. And there was in the third grade, I would go to this one woman, this black woman. She would be the school teacher for our class, the kids who had learning disabilities, and for some reason, I don't know why, Farmington Woods introduced me to a new teacher to be part of for a certain part of the day. But they took me out of class just so they could put me in this one classroom with this other school teacher who was a pedophile, basically. This guy is a fucking piece of shit. He'd take kids into this back room and rape them, and then once he was done with them, he'd threaten to kill them or their family if they told on him and shit. So, and he was very violent. Very violent. He was a very sick-minded fucking piece of shit. So he raped me numerous times, molested me, raped me, you name it. And then it got to a point, somewhere down the school year, he eventually was getting to the point he was getting way too violent. So he was killing me. He was literally strangling me, trying to kill me. And then one day, he tried strangling me, and I felt like myself was dying, basically. I felt like I was dying because he was doing that shit. And then the last time he did it was he actually was successful. He was raping me, and he went to strangle me, and I died as a result of his strangling. And I had a near-death experience. I got to float out of my body. I had the 360 vision view where I could see at every angle. I can remember seeing not only in the room that I was in, but also being able to peer what's going on in the other room aside from me. It was very strange. Then I remember floating up through the ceiling and going into the walls, and you could feel the density of the material, the walls and the ceiling and stuff like that. But at the same time, it felt like I still felt like I had a body, if that made any sense. And as far as any physicality goes, yeah, I felt it. Like literally, I could take my hand and go right through the material and body and everything. You could feel it. It was very interesting, but you can move through it if you wanted to. What that dude did, he started. I think what happened, as I noticed as I was laying lifeless, he put me down on the ground, took me off the desk, and put my body on the ground and started performing CPR. I went above and went elsewhere, and I started inhabiting the body of little creatures like a rat or a cockroach or whatever it was. I was just jumping into different bodies, just experiencing what it was like because I was curious, Don't know why, just was able to do so, and then I was kicked out of here. Seeing one of the bodies from, I guess, their spirit guides, basically. Their spirit guides were like, oh, we're not allowing you to stay here in this body of this being. You have to leave. And I'm like, okay. And then eventually I came across my own spirit guide, and they must have said something to me or whatever, but I don't recall. And what I remember next is he had white robes. He was this dude. He had white robes from down to his he was wearing nothing but white, and that's what I remember. And he went down below to check on my body, I guess, to help bring it back to life. And then when I came back in, I saw him for a brief moment, and he was like, no, you go and take care. And basically, he was keeping me alive by trying to squeeze my heart back to life, and that's what he did. And as the school teacher was panicking, he was performing CPR. He was freaking out. He didn't know what he was doing. He stopped what he was doing. He thought his life was over. He thought he was going to be screwed. Then he went back to performing CPR on me again, and he went back to, and he saved my life after killing me. He was scared about going to prison. That's the whole agenda reason why he brought myself back to life, because he was he was serious about that shit. So what ended up happening was this. I got to have the near-death experience. I got to experience all that fucking horse shit that school teacher did to me. And, it took a long time for me to forgive that school teacher. I know. How could you forgive someone who did something like that to you like that? And not just you, but other people. Because holding on to something that holds you in a place of fear and holds you in a place of anger and rage isn't healthy for you, isn't good for your mind, isn't good for your health. So, and that's the thing, when it happened to me, I must have blocked out the memory of what happened later on in life. It's like in a few months or so, and I completely forgot that shit happened to me until like the early 2000s when I was able to recall what happened to me, like me being raped by a school teacher and being killed, of course. And I was like, oh shit. Now you're probably wondering, if you get raped when you're a child by an adult, do you become a pedophile yourself? No, you don't. I think that's mostly a clinical diagnosis thing or some bullshit or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but you don't become one of those freaks if you've been molested or raped yourself. You just don't. If anything, you just learn to just cope and live with what happened, and that's it. So that's the video I wanted to make. It's a fucked up story, I know, but it needed to be told, and I basically needed to get this off my chest and tell y'all about what happened to me. The story behind the song Farmington Woods. And there you go. And yes, if the school wants to come after me for naming them in my song and also naming them for what happened to me, be my guest, bitch. Be my fucking guest. Come after me. I don't give a shit. Because I'm looking to sue the shit out of you if you do. I'll countersue and I'll collect. So don't try me, elementary school and Cary. Don't even fucking try me if you want to try to sue me for this bullshit. You can fuck off and get sued back and lose in court. That's what I want to say about that shit. So other than that, you take care. Bye.